today's World Insight. Wuhan, once the coronavirus hotbed, now the hot place for parties. A look at life after lockdown and what to watch out for. And a bridge between East and West. Celebrity investor Jim Rogers, along with his daughter Happy, tells us about cultural understanding in a time of turbulence.
It is madness what's happening in Washington. China and America should be friends and be great prosperity together.
Here is our host, Tian Wei.
Hello and welcome to World Insight with me, Tian Wei, on CGTN. We begin today's program in the central Chinese city of Wuhan. It was the epicenter of COVID-19 in China, but now it's ground zero from the pandemic to partying. With flashing lights and blaring dance music, scores of people converged on a pool party last weekend at Wuhan's Maya Beach water park, months after the city's lockdown was lifted in April. The city of 11 million people was under lock and key in January, leaving streets deserted and residents observing strict social distancing rules, a far cry from the weekend's festivities. While other cities around the world grapple with rising COVID-19 cases amid ongoing lockdowns, Wuhan has not reported a local case since mid-May. For more on Wuhan wave, we are joined by Xu Beibei in Wuhan. He's an associate professor at Huazhong Agricultural University who has been with us in several programs talking to us about the updates in Wuhan. And also joining us, Liu Baocheng in Beijing, Dean of the Center for International Business Ethics from University of International Business and Economics. Well, I have to say, welcome to the program. Beibei, did you go to that party?
I'm sorry, no. Yeah, I read the news, but I don't know. So because there were a lot of people, in the pool, and they were not wearing masks, and they were so close to each other, which I have a little bit doubt. To my experience, nowadays people are still people in Wuhan are still wearing masks every day, although not all of them, but most of people, especially in a place which there are a lot of people, and especially in public transportation. So people are cautious about this, coronavirus. So I have a little bit doubt about it.
But certainly they got some hot music there.
Yeah, I wish we could, have such activities more often in our daily lives. Nowadays, lives in Wuhan are back to normal, so we can go shopping freely. We can even go to movie theaters, and we can go to supermarkets to buy whatever we want. So everything is normal, except for that we have a regular checking of the health QR code, and also you need to, if you go to pretty congested places, you even have to have your temperature tested. So that's kind of different from what we had in before the COVID-19.
How frequent are the tests? Who are sponsoring the tests? Who is paying for the tests? And who are organizing the tests? What is the latest test you're having? In order to see whether Wuhan was still infected, throughout the city, so we have a kind of free test of the coronavirus, I think several months ago. And the result was pretty nice because we only found nearly or around 300 asymptomatic patients. So
This indicated that Wuhan was pretty safe since the lift of the lockdown, and we were very happy about that. And for the the thermal test, we don't need to pay them, so it's pretty free, and it's just
so it's
a
sponsored by the
portion.
government in a way, and it's free of charge
Yeah, I
for
think
everyone.
so.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Very interesting phenomenon there. And also tell me about how you are doing in terms of your life, because you're teaching. Is the school going to open as usual? And also how you are interacting with your students before the semester opens.
Yeah, so we had an announcement from the school about the back-to-school days. So I can speak for my university because I just got the announcement. So they ask students to go back to school before the start of the semester, which is on September the 9th. Okay, so students can pick up a date they wish since October 25th. October 25th. Okay. So there are several procedures which need them to fulfill or to accomplish before going back to school. For example, they need to, first of all, apply for a health QR code, and then the code should be green. And also, they need to have their temperature tested every day for 14 days prior to the back-to-school date. Otherwise, they are not allowed to go into the university.
You and I have been talking on and off since the very beginning of the lockdown. I remember we were doing so many Zoom sessions over the past few months. Tell me about your personal take of what you have gone through. And tell me also about people around you, how they reflect upon this very unique period of time. Certainly challenging, but at the same time, rewarding in a way.
Yes, as you have just mentioned that, people in Wuhan have been facing have been facing the calamities, not only the COVID-19, but also the flooding, okay? The lives have been changed due to these calamities. We had hard time during the crisis. For example, we couldn't go out to buy food. But however, there are people who support us, who care about us.
From the very beginning, a tragedy, to today, in a way, a celebration of life inside that city. Many say the people there are heroic, but you could see from Beibei's own story, people are ordinary people, and yet they are doing as much as they can to help themselves and also to help others. Professor Liu, tell me about your reaction to this interesting story, very much circulating on the social media, this pool party in Wuhan. When you saw it, what went through your mind?
Well, Wuhan gave me a picture of disaster for almost 3 months. During the lockdown, and people talk about it, people are crying, and there are also a lot of rumors, diaries, etc. And I was also astonished that they could really lift the lockdown in early April. And then there have been lingering prejudices against people from Wuhan for job opportunities in other parts of the country. And also that investors, visitors are still very hesitant to go to Wuhan immediately after the lift of lockdown. But right now, the doubts and clouds are getting more and more dispersed. And I think this event, music event, is really showing to the world the confidence that the Wuhan people have gained. It is not only the psychologically confident, but rather realistically safe.
Right.
So this is a very strong message sent to the world, sent to the tourists, the investors, and business people.
Right.
The life is back to normal, and vitality of production and consumption is there, rehabilitated and ready to go.
Okay. You see the city government have been making its utmost effort to make sure the rest of the world know Wuhan is safe, as in their words, ultra safe than all the other cities around the world, they say, at least against COVID-19. And then you also see entrepreneurs from all over China making their trips to Wuhan, trying to figure out what kinds of business opportunities they can create. Online, you see this kinds of auctions, which is quite popular these days in China, for anything about Wuhan, all the products coming from there, all the products coming from Hubei. There's national support for what's going on inside that city, inside the province. So in a way, it's very much heartwarming, but at the same time assuring that we are together, could be coming back to normal. Professor Liu, as an economist, how do you take all of these messages?
Well, Wuhan people, went through the crisis with bravery and also with the support of all sorts of people, from medical staff to volunteers, etc. So that shows a very strong unity within this nation, a sense of sympathy, a sense of empathy, and a sense of unity. So this is a very strong national spirit that has went to the test of time, the test of those challenges. And right now, Wuhan as the center of attention from around the globe, that they are doing a far better homework than people have anticipated. And this is also a very strong evidence and best practice to the world that are still fighting for the coronavirus. And it also has a very strong symbolic value that China is doing the right type of homework when the people in the world, particularly some hawkish people, are saying, well, China must be abusing its data because it's too good to be true. And now it is good and it is true.
China been talking about this dual circulation, as we talked before, circulation of economy inside the country, internal, and also external with the rest of the world. How do you see the balance right now between the two? And what does the Wuhan story tell us about it?
China is a very important part of the global supply chain. And right now, we have experiencing a very strong challenge around the world, not only from the lockdown by different countries, but rather also the strong protectionism that is being backed. So therefore, it is really a timely decision for the Chinese central government to decide on the dual circulation, where we're still pushing the envelope around the world to build a better channel and a larger market for Chinese exports. But in the meantime, China is able, given its large market and rising consumption, so to support another internal circulation of all the factors of production around China. And Wuhan is really one very important logistic hub and also it's a center for innovation, and it plays a very important role to connect the far west and the eastern part of China, and it is also a very important springboard to support the Midwest China for poverty alleviation and also for economic rejuvenation.
You know, maybe Wuhan is a great example of that, Bei, because as you can see over the past few weeks, both Wuhan and Hubei have opened up its national parks. Anyone from all over China, anywhere in the world can travel to Wuhan and travel to Hubei, go to those parks free of charge, museums too. So it seems that it's trying to revive people's confidence in tourism in Wuhan. What's your observation?
I haven't been to the tourist sites, nowadays, but I heard the news about these free tickets to enter these tourist sites. To my observation, I haven't been to the tourist sites, but I've been to the riverside banks.
Right. Beautiful there,
parks.
By the way. Cherry blossom,
yes.
the best.
Yes, especially the live show.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of people, it's kind of like a normal, like human traffic, okay? So I think join these people, I think a lot of people are coming from outside of Wuhan or outside the province, and I hope they enjoy their stay at Wuhan.
Having said that, though, it's not just about the service and tourism. It's also about how to revive Wuhan, but also thrive, as a result of the earlier challenges and overcoming of the earlier challenges. We see, Professor Liu, now Wuhan, the city itself, has been advocating as an innovation center. That's interesting, isn't it? But you also see, in fact, quite a number of high-tech companies from China have been trying to establish their regional headquarters in Wuhan now. Of course, partly in support to Wuhan after the crisis. But at the same time, they do see the business opportunity there. Professor Liu, how should we understand, where Wuhan is and how, with its earlier economic and the business environment, will be able to support an era of innovation in the middle part of China?
Well, Wuhan has been the most important, I should say, industrial city since a century ago, where the westernization movement was available. And it still has a very solid, heavy industry over there in terms of steel making, in terms of the machineries. And now with the optical valley that is there, it produces a lot of the high technologies. And even during the pandemic, you see that the dozens, thousands of new patents have been generated. And it is really a center for innovation with the small and medium-sized businesses with unique and proprietary technology over there. They position themselves as the center of innovation in terms of the high-tech manufacturing, in terms of the new invention, and also that in the assembly lines of the automaking of the computers, etc. And so right now it is very important that the whole supply chain in the world are also looking at Wuhan, because the stockpile is getting a high time for replenishment, and Wuhan is there back to work. And more, I think, more fundamentally, Wuhan has the largest number of universities and university students, which produce continuous supply of high-skilled labor force and also innovation power to the city.
I guess that's quite a message to Beibei, to you and your students, right, from your university,
Yeah.
that they could have more opportunities for jobs, and particularly in the high-tech area.
Yes. Actually, I'm quite grateful for these people who helped us, especially those, companies or like banks. They support students in Wuhan. I had a high school senior who helped me get connected with the Ningbo Bank, the Beijing branch. They provided a special, they had a special post for Wuhan students. And I passed this good news to my college, the College of Foreign Languages, and then several students applied to such like a post designed for Wuhan students. And then one of them, got in, So I really appreciate all these kind of opportunities provided by these warm-hearted companies and provided by these kind entrepreneurs. And then, not only me, but also Wuhan people are feeling, appreciated and grateful for what, people from outside of Wuhan provided to us and what they, helped us.
And you know what, Beibei, we are, anyone outside Wuhan, also grateful for what the people in Wuhan have been achieving, have been done. And also you are inspiration for all of us, particularly at a very difficult time. And I guess for the rest of the world. Having said that, though, I really want to ask you that question, Beibei, because there were rumors about whether numbers are correct in Wuhan. There were rumors about, what is really happening right now in the city. Despite what we just discussed, there are always doubts. There's always conspiracy theories. And also there's various comments about how China has managed to achieve its relative success so far against COVID-19, with Wuhan as an example. So, Beibei, when you heard people talk about this, when you get onto the internet and look at some of the social media tweets, how do you react to these rhetorics as someone in Wuhan who experienced everything?
I found these kind of news pretty silly, or silly jokes. And the people who are tweeting or who are posting these kind of news haven't been to Wuhan.
That's true.
Okay? They haven't seen a real Wuhan. But I'm a person who's been in Wuhan ever since the lockdown, and I'm feeling quite, furious, because they're lying. They are talking about something that they are, dreaming, and they're kind of like a fantasizing. So, this is not really good. To my own experience, I think the numbers or the figures are accurate, because I do have people around me, and then I do heard several cases of infection. And I had one piece of news from someone who is close to my mother who passed away. But, that's only a very small fraction of what was happening or what has been happening in Wuhan. So I have so many friends, so many relatives, so many, neighbors, but I heard only one case of, of this tragedy. So I think the numbers are accurate to my own experience. Okay, and also I think the success of Wuhan is no doubt because we have a very, very strict, procedures. We have very strict precautions, not only like medically, but also, from our own heart. So people are cautious about being infected, so they always wear masks. And then, especially, I do remember when the subways were open, people were sitting not next to each other, but there were like vacancies between people. Okay, people deliberately avoid contact with others. Okay, so I think due to all these precautions and due to the stricter restrictions, and we had such a success, and that is no doubt.
Well, final words also from you, Professor Liu, from Wuhan to the rest of China. This is only a starting point. This is just the very beginning of the reset, isn't it? How do you see this reset going to be? To what degree it will be challenging, but at the same time, it will be able to revive all the energies and creations and creativities, in a way, among the population?
I think ideologically, Chinese people have learned a way as how to preserve their health, but in the meantime, they go for economic activities and cultural activities with precaution. And the central government has now a general plan for rehabilitatory recovery. So over the year, we noticed that the first quarter was a nightmare, and second quarter was a recovery, and now we are stepping into the third quarter, which is a strong recovery, I should say. And by the end of the year, we may deliver some surprise, happy surprise or delight to the world and to our own Chinese people that we on the condition that we preserve the health and they contain the spread of the COVID-19, but economically, people can enjoy a more moderate prosperity, and more importantly, all people in China will be lifted out of the poverty line.
We'll see how we are going to finish that task in China. Thank you so much for both of you. Beibei, say hi to your girlfriend and also to your family. Thank you so much. Xu Beibei in Hubei for us in Wuhan. And Professor Liu Baocheng, thank you for your insights too.